I know I need something. I bet you got it in one of those first tourniquet, first aid kit. Bam, here you go.
Well, there's a new law that legislature passed mandate on a kid.
I heard about that.
I had a kid who was on the legs, and I was like, I can't help you. That's what I did. I said, here's a kid.
What's weight going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got
And they're shaking right now.
Oh, no. I'm married.
so Corey sent me an email.
She was
Mark called. Mark called. Come on over to my office. I said, okay. Going on. I have mine right. So we chit chatted for a little bit.
I didn't do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
That chair.
How did you even know it? That's how big of a day it's been.
Until you sit on the floor.
I'm glad you at least looked.
Oh, so at least smart enough for that, right?
Here, can you redo that? I'll hurt.
Alan, did you get everything you needed?
Yep. Thank you.
I wasn't sure if you wanted those fire permits or not, but I just threw them in there for good measure.
You can never get too much information. Besides that, then we don't have to ask for anything.
Right. It's like I knew I should have given that.
I know those guys. They're gonna ask for it. Eventually, yeah. As they figure, you can probably see our little brains clicking like, oh, well maybe I should ask for this too.
Yeah, I was like, then I was like, maybe I shouldn't volunteer this information. It's like, well, I won't know until the application, or, the application amounts and things like that. It's like,
Isn't that already published?
Well,
The fees?
well, yeah. I mean, everybody kind of gets the same research after more lots or things like that. So.
The explanation behind them though is kind of interesting how they vary, right? How the fees vary. It's just a matter of understanding it.
Yeah.
We're still riding our tricycle. We haven't made it to it. We're still using 3 wheels.
It's safer.
Is this a furnish your own laptop day?
That is a very good question. We're still in the little bit.
I see a cable. Just so happens.
Do you have yours?
I came prepared.
I was gonna say, if you don't, I can run and get mine. Okay. Are we out? Yeah.
There's none out there. The little cubby hasn't been.
I don't even have mine. I thought I did. I must have lost. It's buried somewhere.
I have it on my website. If you want to open it up.
You just want to download it.
I know we're on a budget.
I'm good. You?
I brought it.
You're welcome. There it is. But did you want to cruise it for a bit? You might be the only one in the room.
Don't very often have to set things straight.
Do you guys need one?
It's for him, no take it.
If not, we're going to get edited.
I'll get it on my phone and then that way we won't.
No, I just made sure that they don't very well. I want you the Yankees. I am from Queens, New York. F-U-C-K, the Yankees.
You know we're recording.
We're from Queens, our state.
I guarantee most of America would
That's a better place. It's more meaningful.
We call it home.
We call home.
Let's go Mets.
Wow, no, because
Phillies better than the Mets. I mean, they're stacked team. But so far, we're doing all right. We shouldn't have gotten past Milwaukee.
Tiffany.
do you have agendas?
Yeah, she just printed them.
Okay, thank you.
Here, I don't need that many. You can, is that mine? Yeah. Okay. Anybody want an agenda?
I'll take one. Thank you. Do you need one? Pass it on. I need a couple more. I'm sharing.
Just sharing.
Oops, sorry. Ooh, good chat. So he goes that way. Well, we'll make sure.
Alrighty, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Garvey.
Present.
Councilwoman Merkela.
Present.
Councilman Brennan.
Present.
Councilman Harjo. Present. Mayor Sykes.
President, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for Tuesday, October 8, 2024. We'll run right into a public hearing regarding the Idaho Community Development Block Grant from the from the Idaho Department of Commerce. That's public. Would anybody like to get up and speak on that one, for or against? Okay.
I'd like to.
Okay.
I just had a question, Mayor Sykes, do I need to get my name? Patty Stats? Pastor Patty Stats? I just had a question because I never saw this before. And I did go in and do some research and I just wanted to make sure, like, it seems like that this was approved like a while ago. But I just had some questions. I realized that this is a grant, $500,000 grant that's coming. Seems like it's coming from, through kind of like the LEAP funding and through, the block grant. But my question that I have for you is, how are they determining who gets into those housing, development areas? Because, you know, we have a lot of people that can't even afford, you know, like the lowest amount of $920, based on like what they showed for information. I'm just wondering, how are they determining that? Is that from citizens that are mountain homes? Are they residents of Elmore County? Or are we opening this up to the Treasure Valley and having people come from the Treasure Valley, and allowing them to move? Because I know a lot of our housing market, we've had a lot of people move from Treasure Valley into this market to go back and forth because it's cheaper here. So I kind of want to know about that. And then the other thing in doing some research on it is I saw that there was a Rural Community Assistance Corporation loan that was taken out, an RCAC loan. And it looks like that they funded $11.1 million to provide for the construction funding and financing of this development. And my question is, who's responsible for that if we don't get residents into that to make monthly payments? Because I'm assuming those payments are going to be going towards that amount of the loan. So those are like the two questions that I'm not necessarily for or against, but I just would like to have those answered because, again, that could be a burden on our city if we don't get people into that 136 unit. And how does that, you know, really look from the city? Like, and of course I'm saying I'm behind the game because I didn't know that this was happening. But when I was doing research, I just wanted to know who's responsible for that construction loan. And, you know, exactly, is the grant coming from the LEAP funding, LEAP housing funding, or is it coming from the Idaho community state, you know, funding? And is that grant that you're getting not going to be any remote way? Because it sounded like it was just for the startup of this project. And so those were things that I'm just curious about, to help me say if I'm for or against, I guess. I didn't realize it was a for or against, but those were just some things I noticed in researching this, so if you could maybe answer that.
So I don't know about who can, I would assume it'd be any person that qualifies for it based off income. And then the other one is the loan amount and then the construction loan. I have absolutely no clue on how that gets repaid back or whatnot. That's all on Leap Charities. The $500,000 CDBG grant was for the infrastructure. And so you can apply to the state, or the state can apply to the state for infrastructure only. So it'd be like the street, the sewer, the water. I know I'm missing something else. I don't want to put somebody on the spot. So what I'll do is I'll research it and I'll get back to you because I want to give you the like this is where all this comes from.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just concerned about the $11.1 million loan for the construction of that. Like, how is that really, who's responsible for that if we don't get people in those
Leap
units?
Charities.
Leap Charities.
Yeah, or Falcon's Landing, whoever
It does come from Leap Housing.
Yeah.
Leap Housing is the one that seems to
City's
be.
not on the hook for any of that.
Okay, cause that's what I wanna make sure that we as a city are not on the hook for $11.1 million. So, thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Teddy, I'll get you some of those answers hopefully sooner rather than later.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, public hearing closed. Paul, before we go to executive session, I kind of picked your brain a little bit. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't see the need to go into executive session.
Okay, so we'll just skip down to recognizing persons in the audience. Would anybody like to get up and speak for about 3 minutes? Hey, Gisela, come on down.
Gisela Light, 1660 East States North. I'm here because the issue of my property on 1125 was annexed without my permission. And there was a back and forth, it's the county's fault, it's the city's fault. I talked to Josh this morning and apparently the consensus is that it was the city's fault by including both legal descriptions when the paperwork was submitted. There has not been any communication with me in the city. The only communication I had is by my going to the assessor's office and finding out and getting documents from them. I want something in writing on how this is going to be remedied. My taxes will go up approximately, Josh told me this morning, between $1,300 and $1,500 a year. The state has agreed to de-annex me for 25. But since I didn't even know I was annexed, I didn't find that out until July. Had I known last year in May, I could have done something about it, but I found out by accident that I was annexed in. So it was too late to reverse that. So I'm just asking to get some communication from the city on how this is going to be handled. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. We're gonna run to conflict of interest declaration. Has any council member received information pertaining to or otherwise had any contact with any person regarding any items on the city council agenda? If so, please set forth the nature of contact. Councilwoman Bookla?
So Rod Dudley emailed me about consent agenda D, old business number 2, 3, 4, 5. I called Commissioner Corbis regarding old business number 5, and I received a phone call from Patty Stats regarding public hearing.
Mayor? Councilman Harjo?
I have email correspondence from Alan Bump on old business numbers 2 through 4.
Mayor?
Councilwoman Garvey?
I had a call from Rod Dudley regarding 3 and 4.
Councilman Brennan?
I think it's pertinent, but way back in the day when for those that are in regard to a pending land use application, which is a quasi-judicial process, can those who receive those emails / texts state what the substance of what those emails are, one, and then two, whether the decision maker can evaluate the evidence that has been presented at the public hearing and in your packets and not be biased by the receipt of that email. Two-part. That's a two-part.
Councilwoman Workup.
Since Rob kept me busy. Let me see here, I have to find it. But it was in regards to a Facebook post that he posted, and then he copied it and then was justifying verbiage within that Facebook post to Councilman Garvey and myself of why he put the Facebook post.
And how does that pertain to the land use application?
Well,
It's about, oh, sorry, Mayor.
Councilman Garvey.
It was about it. I don't know, maybe it doesn't pertain to it.
If it's about it, then you should present it on the record so that it's out.
I'll find it.
Any other council
Hmm?
have something?
Mayor.
Councilman Workup.
As it pertains to my disclosure, the passage in here defines the last city council meeting, September 24th, tabling the discussion with Bennett Ranch Station. Were you not on P&Z when they annexed into the city? Documents you're requesting were in the packet. Maybe let City Hall do their work so you can get through their packet before the meeting. The specific text pertaining to Bennett Ranch Station.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Garvey.
the emails do not hinder my ability to make decisions. Here's my second thing.
Councilwoman Workup.
But what was it? That's the
Sure, it's like a 3-pager, right, the whole thing? Or do you want to?
No, if you could paraphrase it. But the point being is, let me explain the method behind the madness here. Is that when you have a public hearing on a quasi-judicial application, you base your decisions on the evidence that's presented at a public hearing and or your review of that deliberations from the recordings, et cetera, and the findings of fact that come out of that. The reason why it's quasi-judicial and not judicial is in a court of law, obviously, which is where I just came from, you present evidence on the record, you got a jury sitting right there. People don't get to like send text in the middle of jury trials. It's a judicial process. Quasi-judicial is a little bit different, but some of the principles apply in that you base your decision on the evidence that's presented. However, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker all expect to be able to reach out to their elected officials, and so sometimes there's communication that occurs. However, when it's relevant to a pending land use application, you present that evidence on the record as if it was presented on the record originally, and say, hey, by the way, I can't stop people from emailing me. Here's what I got. I'm going to render my decision based upon the evidence that's been presented here, and is through the process of being able to address it. Short answer. I have a longer one if you want.
It's not going to hinder my decision. Do you want to take a look at what it looks like?
No, it's not for me. It's just basically the substance of what it is.
Councilwoman Mayor,
Councilwoman Workup.
Councilwoman Garvey, how would you sum this up?
Well, I don't have it in
Councilwoman
front of me.
Garvey.
I apologize, I don't have it in front of me, I'm looking right now. I'm not going to reply.
Hey, while we're doing that really quick, hey everybody, I want to do a change. I want to pull or table item D on this. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to wait for the consent agenda. But what I will do is bring out a special person really quick while we're getting to the substance.
If you want to read it.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so dear Becky and Jenny, it's been very difficult to respond to both of your comments about the August 24th meeting. My first question is, did you see the video I did from the meeting? Being within the trees makes it hard to see the forest. Did you go see the Facebook post? If you have not, please do. If we are placing our feelings on the table, I walked into the meeting feeling something was up. Was it that council knew Bennett Ranch was not going to be discussed? With Brennan being late, it would seem he was left out of the loop too. Believe me, I do not have any investment emotionally or financially to the development. I may in many ways understand the importance to Mountain Home future. Where else are we going to get so much for so many? How are young people going to afford to move out of their parents' homes without moving away? Would you want to live here if you were young and full of hope for the future? Where are higher paying jobs for people without a degree going to come from? How is Mountain Home going to raise tax revenue in such a large sum? Spreading spawning PUDs does not decrease water, sewer, and trash needs. Not to mention, young people do not have the financial means to have a down payment for those of 350K plus homes. By building all these expense homes, I believe we're asking out of state and city residents because we are a community cannot afford them. Then all those new higher income people will shop in Boise, as most of us do now. Combining it into a stage complex can't be wrong. The beef the city has with Dan Weeds is not up to me, just like all the other pissed off people the city has created. You must realize I nor Alan would never do anything or intentionally to hurt you or harm your public image. And then there's a Facebook post that he put out, and then answer, like justified why.
Having received that email where it is about a pending application, does that, you are required as an elected official to be fair and impartial and base your decisions upon the evidence that's presented in the proper proceeding. Has that been swayed in any way by the receipt of that email?
No, sir.
Well, you didn't get that email.
I did not get that email, Mayor.
Councilman Arjo?
I did receive, screenshots of the Facebook post.